Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, this is the series of my Canada visa application. If you've not seen the start to finish, like the process of the start to finish, you can check the previous video, but this video is just to discuss the form, right? So I have my laptop here. I've downloaded the form and I'll be discussing the form with you. There are about 15 pages, so that's quite a lot. So application summary. I'll just turn my so that you see what I'm saying, right? So I think when you're filling the form, I think the arrangement of the questions are slightly different from when you download the summary, but they're the same questions. It's just the arrangement. So the form, the first question here is the reason for the visit, right? So the reason for the visit, the first question there says, do you want to apply for more than one person at the same time? I said no, because it was just me. Are you applying on behalf of someone else? No, because it's just me. I want to apply for a, then I filled I think the options will come out: visitors visa or super visa. That's the one I applied for, because the visitors visa comes with like, or super visa. Then there are other kinds of visas like student visa and the rest, work visa and the rest of them. So I chose the visitors visa or super visa. Why do you need a visa? And then my answer is to visit Canada as a tourist. The next question is, tell us more about what you'll do in Canada. My response is, I will spend 2 weeks in Canada exploring different cities. I plan to visit the Museum of Illusion in Toronto and the Calgary Selfie Museum. I'll also visit the Calgary Zoo and the Banff Mountain in Alberta to connect with nature. I will take a trip to Montreal and Quebec to explore historic places, experience the culture and try local cuisine. So you can just try to put whatever it is that suits your trip there. And then the next question says, when will you enter Canada? I filled in the date. When will you leave Canada? I filled in the date. So my trip will be for 2 weeks. So I put the duration for the 2 weeks. Then you go to your personal information. Surname or last name, I put it there. Given names, I put it there. Just as I try to, whenever I'm filling this kind of forms, I try to put my names just the way it appears on my like passport, right? So I put my name there. Most of you already know my name, yeah. And then the next question says date of birth. I put my date of birth there. The gender, which is required, of course I'm female, so I put that there. Have you used another name in the past? No, I have never used another name in the past. So if you've changed your name, like maybe you've been married or something, then you can just fill yes there. But I put no because I've never changed my name since I was born, yeah. And I don't intend to change it. For telephone numbers, it says telephone type. I picked cellular. Country code, I put +44. My telephone number, I put the extension, which is optional. I left it blank because I don't have any optional number. Do you have an alternative phone number? I put no there because I don't have an alternative phone number. And then for the email address question, email address, you put it there. Confirm your email address. Of course, you re-enter your email address. And then the next question says, preferred contact language. What is your native language or your mother tongue? I put English there. Are you able to communicate in English or in French? I put English there because, yeah, I think there were options there, so I chose English. So we'll move to the next question. The next question says, what language do you want us to use to contact you? And I put English there. Residence information, your address. I put my address there, my UK address, because I'm applying from the UK. The next question says, is your mailing address the same as your residential address? Of course, yes. I put yes there. In the past 5 years, have you lived in another country or territory for more than 6 months? I put yes, because I only moved here 3 years ago. So before the 3 years, I used to live in Nigeria. So that's why I put yes there. The next question says, other country or territory of residence. That's where I've lived in the past. But it has to start with your most recent country of residence, and then you go like to the previous ones. So the first one here, country or territory, I put England, status, permanent resident. From I put the date I entered the UK. This is where I live currently. I ticked the box. And then the next question is like, for the previous country you've lived in for 6 months or more. It says country or territory. I put Nigeria. Status, I put citizen. From when to when. Because they are looking for, my intention was like to put from the day I was born to like the day I migrated to England, because that's how long I've lived in Nigeria. But because they are looking for where you have lived in the last 5 years, I think where you have lived after 5 years is not their business. So I just had to put like from 2020 up until when I moved to England. So for the Nigerian question, it says I put from 2020 and then to the day I moved to England. That was the day I stopped living in Nigeria, right? And then identification, it says country or territory where you were born. I said Nigeria. City or town where you were born. I put there Kaduna. Are you a citizen of more than one country or territory? I put no, because at the moment I'm just a citizen of Nigeria. Which country or territory are you a citizen of? Country or territory, I put Nigeria. And then it says, I am a citizen of this country or territory since birth. I ticked yes. And then from when have you been like a citizen of this country? I put my date of birth there, because that's when I've been a citizen of Nigeria. And then the next question says, do we already have your fingerprints and photo biometrics, and are they still valid? I said no, because this is the first time I'm applying for Canadian visa. National identity. Do you have any valid national identity document? I was tempted to put my NIN, like my Nigerian ID card there, but sometimes you just have to avoid stories that touch. And I think when I filled this question, at first I put yes, but they now asked for like the number and the expiry date, but I realized that the name that I have, there was no expiry date there. So rather than complicate things, I just put no there. And then the next question says, have you ever studied at a post-secondary school level, like university or vocation school? I put yes there. And then it says, give each detail of your studies. I put my from your highest, I just feel it's from your highest qualification, then you keep going down. I put the school where I last attended, University of Worcester, that's in England here, and that was in 2011 up until 2012, which I put there. Level of study, I put it there. Field of study, I put it there. Address, I had to go back to Google to get this address, and then I just put it there. Okay, that's the only educational thing, that question that is there, because I can see that's the only educational. I think they want just the latest, or maybe I decided to just put one. I can't even remember. And then the work history. Did you serve in any military, militia, civil defense unit, security organization, or police force? I said no, because I've never worked in any of those places. And then employment activities, your job title, I put my job title from when. I put when I started with my current company. I put it there. Is it ongoing or date, or the date you left there? I put that it's ongoing. The work or activity, I think there is a list there, but I can see health occupation here. And then company or employer, I put the name of my employer there. So you can put the name of your employer there. And then your main duties, I just put a summary of my main duties. Then address of your employer, I also put it there. And then I also added my last job before I moved here. So I put that job title, I put it there from what to what. I put the date I started and the date I left. Work or activity, I put health occupation. My employer, I put the name of my employer. Main duties, I put it there. And then the address, I also put the address of my last employer there. And then the next question says, what document are you traveling with? Passport. And just to clarify something, because in Nigeria we call the green passport, we refer to it as international passport, but everywhere you go outside Nigeria, it is referred to as ordinary passport. So take note of this, either passport or ordinary passport, not international passport. Okay, so it says, what document are you traveling with? I put my passport. What kind of passport? I put just passport there. Select the country code that matches the one on your passport. I put Nigeria. What's the nationality of your passport? I put Nigeria. What's your passport or travel document number? I put it there. And then the next question says, confirm your passport document number. I re-entered the passport number. Date of issue of passport or travel document, I put the date that I got the travel document. Expiry date, I put it there because I just got my passport like 2 years ago. I tried to get 10 years passport to save me from stress of renewing in a short time. The next question says, are you a lawful permanent resident of the USA with valid green card? I put no. Have you held a Canadian visitor's visa in the last 10 years? I said no. Do you currently hold a valid US non-migrant visa? I said no. Are you traveling to Canada by air? I said yes. This question is quite funny because even for the people who are traveling by boat, do you think they were going to fill this form? Or anyway, some people might be traveling by bus anyway. And then travel history, it says, during the past 5 years, have you traveled to a country or territory other than the one where you are a citizen or where you live? I said yes. The next question says, country or territory. I put the France because I went to France a few months ago. Location of where you went to, I put it there. From when to when, I put it there. Then next question says, purpose of your travel. I put there for holiday. And then the next question is just like for the places you've been. Country or territory, I put the Netherlands. The location, I put the location of where I went to, Hilversum, and the date from when I went there to the date I left there. I entered it, and the purpose of my travel, I put holiday. And then I repeated it for France because I went to France again. But the purpose of travel this time was to visit my family. The next question says, have you ever stayed in Canada beyond the validity of your status, attended school in Canada without authorization, or worked without authorization in Canada? I said no. Have you ever been refused a visa or permit, denied entry, or ordered to leave any country of territory? I put there yes. I've had one denial sometime in 2018. Provide as many details as possible about when this happened. This will help with processing your application. This denial is really haunting me. I wrote that in 2018 I was refused visa to enter the UK because it says I didn't have adequate financial requirements. Yeah, so you need to be truthful with this, because let me tell you what happened. The last time I went to France, I got in France, it was good, and when I was coming back to the UK, do you know that these people saw this denial that I had on the system, and they had to call the UK immigration and say, you have someone who has previously been denied, can you let her back into your country? And they said yes. Can you just imagine? Not even considering the fact that I'd lived in the UK for two plus years at the time. Yeah, so if you can avoid getting a refusal or denial in your passport at any cost, please do. But if something that you already have, don't worry, just always enter it when you're filling a form. Financial information. It says, how much do you have for your stay in Canada? I put the 5,000 Canadian dollars. Remember, you have to provide evidence. Is someone else giving you money for a stay in Canada? I put there no. Marital status. What is your current marital status? You fill it there. If you're single, divorced, separated, whatever it is that you are. Children. Do you have any biological, adopted, or stepchildren? I filled it there, so you have to fill what is applicable to you. I understand that I am not declaring any natural, adopted, or stepchildren. You fill it there, yes or no. So if you declare that you have children, you fill yes. If you declare that you do not have children, you tick whatever is applicable to you. Then parents question. So there is an option where it says, I don't know who my parents are. If you don't know who your parents are, you can tick that, and then it will take you to where the next questions. But of course, I know my parents, so I ticked what was applicable to me. So you then have to fill in the parents question. So surname or last name for the parent you're filling for. I put the last name. The given name, I put her given name. That's my mother. The date of birth, I put her date of birth. And then I think there's an option where they ask you if the parent is still alive or the parent is deceased. So I ticked deceased, and then they now ask date of death. I put the date of death there. And then to the next question, it says relationship. I put mother. Country or territory of birth, I put Nigeria. And then for the next parents, which is my dad, the surname, I put it there. Given names, I put it there. Date of birth, I put it there. Is this parent deceased? No, I did not tick that. Relationship, I put father. Okay, if you put deceased, I think it shortens the rest of the questions, right? Country or territory of birth, I put Nigeria. Present occupation, I put retired. Does this parent have the same address as you? No. Address, then you have to put the parent's address. So I put the address in Nigeria where my dad is. Will this parent come with you to Canada? I put no. Medical information. Have you had any medical exam performed by the IRCC authorized panel physician within the last 12 months? I put no. Do you want to work in one of the following jobs? health service workers, clinical laboratory workers, patient attendant in nursing or geriatric homes, medical student admitted in Canada to attend university, and then the list goes on and on and on. I said no. The next question says, in the last 2 years, were you diagnosed with tuberculosis? I said no. In the last 5 years, have you been in close contact with a person with tuberculosis? I said no. Medical background questions continues. Are you currently receiving dialysis treatment? I said no. Have you had a drug or alcohol addiction causing you to be a threat to yourself or to others or to be hospitalized? I said no. Have you had a mental health condition causing you to be a threat to yourself or to others and to be hospitalized? I said no. Have you ever been diagnosed with syphilis? I said no. And then criminal history. Have you ever committed any crime in any country or territory? This includes driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I said no. Have you ever been arrested for any criminal offense in any country or territory, including driving under the influence? I said no. Have you ever been charged for any criminal offense in any country or territory, including driving under the influence? I said no. Have you ever been convicted for any criminal offense in any country or territory? I said no. Next question says, are you or have you ever been a member or associated with political party or other group of organization which has engaged in or advanced violence or as a means to achieving a political or religious objective, or which has been associated with criminal activities at any time? I said no. Have you ever witnessed or participated in the ill treatment of prisoners or civilians, looting or desecration of religious building? I said no. Optional documents. It says, do you want to provide additional documents? I think that's where you upload your documents. I answered that yes. Do you want to provide an employment letter? I said yes. That's where you upload your documents. I've spoken about that in the last video. Documents to support your application. Okay, I think these were the documents that I uploaded. I put proof of immigration status. So the file name that I saved the file as, because you can upload 2 documents. I've already explained that. So this is just talking about the 2 documents I uploaded. And then the fees. The visa fee is 100 Canadian dollars, and the biometrics fee is around 85 Canadian dollars. So in total, everything, the application form and the biometrics, is 185 Canadian dollars. But I paid in pounds, so I think I paid around 105 pounds or thereabout. I can't remember the exact amount I paid, right? But at the time you're applying, you have to pay what is applicable to you. So I paid the equivalent of 185 Canadian dollars, which was around maybe 105 pounds. So then you have the declaration here. You have to sign the declaration, put your name, your surname, and then you tick whatever box that is there, and then you submit. So this application I did, I think there was like an update in the IRCC portal. So this application I did in February of 2026. So this is what is applicable at the time I did the application. So if you're doing the application in few years to come, there might be a few changes, but the changes might not be like very, very different from what I've read out here. This is just a guide, and if you have any questions about filling the form, you can drop it in on the comment section, and I will be very, very happy to respond to the questions to the best of my knowledge. Disclaimer, I am not an immigration advisor. Okay, until I see you in my next video, stop existing and start living your best life. Bye bye.